Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and today I'm joined by David Turnbull. He's going to tell his story, how a state agency nearly ruined his family and his own life. David, thanks for joining me today. What I want to ask is, why did you get into a state agency, and why did it become almost an obsession and nearly ruin the rest of your life? Talk to me.
It was something I'd always wanted to do for a long time. I was a golf professional and a golfer in my time. So although I had an education, sales sort of was something I fell into. An estate agency is something I wanted to do. When golf as a profession didn't work out, I joined an estate agency in 2004. And like most things, being a golfer and being obsessed with playing golf, I became obsessed with being an estate agent.
Are you a bit of an obsessive? You know, when you put your mind to it, you tend to go all feet in and everything. Is that the sort of person you are?
Yeah, whatever I decide to do, I always want to be the best I possibly can at it. So, it's just became obsessed, working stupidly long hours, but enjoying it in the meantime. But yeah, I just became a bit addicted to the whole thing.
Was it the thrill of the chase of winning the business? Was it perfectionism or something else?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think it was just amazing to pull back the curtain and find out exactly what was happening in the property market and knowing lots of things that a lot of other people didn't know. So it was like pulling back that curtain and really immersing yourself into that sort of thing.
So you joined in the state agency when the market was going really, really well. Did you able to manage to ride out the 2009 crash, or was that even better for you because you were, good estate agents came to the top? You were just cracking on a treat, were you?
Yeah, spot on. Actually, I think that 2008, 9, and 10 was a huge learning curve. I learned more in those 3 years than I have in the other sort of 15, 16 years that I've been in the business.
But it got to 2012, and I know you posted on LinkedIn, and that's one of the reasons why we're talking today is that basically whilst work was going really well, the rest of your life basically the legs got kicked from underneath you. What happened? Tell me.
I think when you become obsessed, and your employers when you work want you to be obsessed, is that it's a very, very stressful situation. You start working longer hours, and when you work in a really busy estate agent, it's pretty relentless. So I think that when you finish at 7:30, even 8 o'clock, and you're then getting home at 8:30, when you get home from a busy day in an estate agency office, you need at least, I think, half an hour to sit down and almost like collect your thoughts of the day. You don't just come back and just be normal. It's like so high energy that I think a lot of the time it wasn't until 9 o'clock in the evening that I was even functioning. And then by then I was just tired. And I did that way too many times, I think. And, you get home, you need that relationship with your wife. Didn't help me getting home late. But it was, you just became obsessed. But it was the nature of our game, really.
And do you genuinely think because you were overworking that affected your marriage? And in fact, unfortunately, your wife filed for divorce, didn't she?
Yeah, I think it did in the end. It certainly didn't help. It's that the estate agent and the office that I worked in, where my family and my home life became secondary. That's when I look back on it now, I can paint a picture in that way. That everything was more important than the next instruction and how well we were doing rather than our home life. So the work-life balance just completely went out of kilter.
And were you working for a chain or an independent at this point?
Independent.
Okay. Well, it was all about beating the competition and winning stuff. And when you lost the listings, it was like tearing your heart from your chest, that sort of stuff.
That's something that became the sort of the 9, 10, and 11. We were market leaders. We had a sort of a 70-75% market share. So we were big, but a couple of players came into the market that started taking a lot of market share away from us, and I started then to feel it, and I feel it more than anyone else, is when you win 6 and then lose 1, the one you lost hurts way more than the 6 you won.
Why do you think, and again I hear that a lot from the estate, from a lot of valuers and listers, why is losing 1 harder than gaining 6 or 7 or 8. It's almost like we are reliant on the outcome for our sanity and our worth.
Yeah, I think so. You do need people in your life to be able to sort of put that in context. But I would like to think, I say like to think, I'm a typical estate agent where I want to be loved by everybody.
Yep.
So the 6 that you win, you know, you don't ask the people when they go on the market. You probably don't ask them why they chose you. But you want to find out why the 7th didn't use you, and you start to overanalyze it and think, oh, what did I do wrong? Did I say something wrong? Did they not like me? Did they not like, you know, the way I talked or things like that?
It's the fear of rejection, isn't it? It's awful. I've been there myself many times. So how did this all come to a head, and what did you do about it to sort this out?
Oh, well, it came to a head. It's that when I got I got a promotion to manager, and that was kind of the worst thing that could have happened to me at the time. Is that I had really high confidence levels. Confidence was really, really high. I was doing really well, but I didn't have the pressure of the office over my head. And I was given the promotion to the manager of the office, and I should have put my hand up and said, I am not a manager. I'm a salesman. This is what my niche. This is what I'm good at. And I didn't put my hand up. And as soon as you start then being a manager on the other side of the desk, that's when things really unraveled for me, and really affected my mental health in a bad way, because you go from being a number on one side of the desk doing a great job to being on the other side of the desk where people are looking at you, and I completely unraveled. So and that coincided literally about 3 months after I separated from my wife. So I saw it as a positive. Roses, rose-tinted spectacles, put a smile on your face. This is a great career progression for me, and it was terrible for me. And I quickly got demoted back to being senior negotiator again.
Okay, and what you got to a point. What did it do for your mental health at this point? And when did you actually go and seek help?
At that particular time, I was still trying to paint a picture that I was okay. You know, I've got, you know, a personality, Dave, you can get through this. You know,
okay.
You're a great agent. I was always just trying to talk a good game all the time.
Okay. But how did it make you feel that you got demoted?
I felt relieved. I just felt but also I was ashamed, because I looked like I was a total failure. I couldn't do my job properly.
Did that weigh down heavy on you?
Big time, yeah. To the point where I wanted to walk away from the whole thing then, because I felt all eyes were looking at me. Oh, what's happened to Dave? Oh my God, have you heard about Dave? You know, that's how I was very lonely at the time as well. So I didn't feel that I had support from. I felt that I was probably more being ridiculed than supported, but that was probably all in my head. But that was really tough. I look back on it now. That was tough. But the worst hadn't happened yet.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back, which basically meant you did something about it?
I think at that point I started to work out what the hell was wrong with me, because then I really, my mental health was as worse as it could have got. And I was living with a friend in his spare bedroom, still managing to put one foot in front of the other each day. How I did, I don't know. I was driving a crapped out old car that was on its last legs. I didn't have any money, but I was still putting one foot in front of the other. And then I think one day I got to a crisis point as far as I was concerned. I didn't know what to do. So I just went to the doctors. That's all. I didn't know what else to do. So I just said, I'm going to the doctors. And that's when I started to sort of get through the other side, or begin to get to the other side.
Did you see yourself as a failure by going and seeking help?
No, I was past that point then.
Okay.
I was at crisis, so I needed something positive to happen, but I didn't know what that looked like. But the thoughts that were running through my head at that particular time, Chris, were, okay, I was really lonely. You know, you feel so lonely.
What would your message be to someone who's listening to this, who feels overwhelmed by their role? I mean, let's be honest, the state agency for the last 20 months, 24 months has been really hard work. What would your message be to, you're out the other side now. You're like, if you don't mind me saying, like a pig in shit. It looks like you can tell by your post that you're enjoying a state agency, that little glint in your eye. And I know you're part of the EXP network, which I'm a big fan of. Other self-employed models are available. Talking to people in your organization, you are a bright spark. So you've obviously come out the other side. What would your message be to anyone who is feeling overwhelmed and just,
you're not alone. First things first is that, there are some, people out there that are doing really, really well. You're not alone. There'll be thousands of estate agents throughout the country feeling very similar to what I felt back in 2012, 2013. And it's very difficult. That this Agents Together, which I've become a part of now, with mentoring, I think is something that's definitely worth getting involved with. If you feel that the wheels are beginning to fall off a bit, or you're struggling, or you feel anxious when you go to work, this is something that I would suggest reaching out to and having a mentor. That I think would be really, really helpful, because you've got to notice the signs before they happen. It's when you feel really anxious about going to work in the morning, and to the point where you're actually almost shaking. Morning meetings. I don't have a morning meeting anymore. I used to be absolutely terrified of morning meetings. Whether I'd had a great day the day before and I had my head held high, or if I'd had a terrible day the day before, I didn't feel any different. I felt terrified.
Do you think, I mean, you got to a crisis point where you had to go to the doctors, and you've been online and said that, you were prescribed medication. Do you think if you'd have had a mentor on your side, beside you, walking the path with you on the lead up to that you might have not got to that point where you did? I mean, thank God that you went through the other side and you were absolutely, you're flying. But do you think having a mentor probably in, 2010, 11, helping and guiding you, being a better estate agent, helping you, guiding you, and also potentially being a better manager, could have alleviated a lot of this?
I think that it would have probably let me fall a little bit gentler than I was. It was the loneliness that was the issue. I felt so alone. With having family, it's great to have family to turn to, but in a state agency, and I don't mean to generalise it, but in a state agency, you only understand it if you're in there day to day. Everyone else thinks it's an easy job, love showing paper around houses. In office environments, it can be really difficult. Really difficult.
If you're not an estate agent, you don't know. And the wonderful thing about having a mentor and a guide is that, at home, they're your home, they're your family. There's only certain things you can say to them. And let's be honest, your colleagues are your colleagues and your boss is your boss. There's different hierarchies and they've got different needs and wants from you. But when you have a guide or a mentor, then they're totally on your side. There's no, any monies or, in terms of that, when you work for someone, there is a relationship there, but it's just there because they're 100% for you. I mean, I know we're going to talk in a separate video about you being a mentor and a mentee, but what would your message be to anyone thinking, well, I want to be a better agent, I want to get my head sorted out, not to a point where they're at a crisis? What would your message be to any agent thinking of contacting Agents Together for a mentor?
I would highly recommend it. So because you can speak to somebody outside of the organisation you're in, but also you're then paired as well, so a specific mentor will be chosen for a specific mentee. But you've got to be honest. If in 2012 this had been available and I'd done something like this, I would have said, I wouldn't have told anybody then my mental health was in a bad place, but today I would. So it's a case of mental health's in a bad place, I need some help, and turning to the people that you work with wouldn't have helped, because they're kind of, although they're your colleagues, they're kind of competing against you as well.
Of course they are. It's about having someone. So basically, thank you for your time today, David. And if you are an estate agent and you're looking for someone to guide and support you, then contact Agents Together for some mentoring. It's absolutely free. There's no catches there, David. None whatsoever. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.
Pleasure.